Oh man, that is a brunch right here. That is eggs with some leftover baked broccoli and carrots. Put it on a tortilla. I'm going to throw on a bunch of hot sauce because that's what I like to do. I want to talk in this vlog, which I think is number 4 or 5, about nutrition and specifically about how to lose weight. So I am a strength and conditioning specialist, a health nerd, Healthspan nerd. I love talking about nutrition and exercise. And the purpose of these vlogs is to really kind of be transparent and showing people how I try to live by what I preach. So I talk about things on my podcast with my coaching clients about exercise, nutrition, sleep. Specifically right now, I am training for a couple of cycling events that I have coming up, but even bigger than that, much more important than that ultimately is my health span, my lifespan. I want to be healthy, active, vibrant, resilient for a really long time. And that takes some intention. And it's one thing to break down the science and be like, hey, do this. This is how you sleep better. Here's, high quality protein. Here's some great exercises for you. But it's another thing to actually pull back the curtain and show you what I do. So I try to follow what I preach, which is not always 100% successful for me. But here we are. So I want to talk about what I'm thinking for my nutrition for today. And really over the past month or two, I've been focusing on trying to lose a few pounds, and I've actually lost several pounds. Now, why would I do that? Well, I have these events coming up and cycling events, and so I want to make sure that I'm strong, I have great cardiovascular health. But if I'm going to be doing multi-day events and climbing up hills and all this stuff, being a few pounds lighter, not a bad idea. I'm not overweight, but I will say that probably 6 months ago, I weighed probably 10 more pounds than I do now. That was I think I topped out at like 188 or something like that, 188, 189, which is arguably a little bit too heavy for my frame, for the way I felt comfortable. But I was in the gym a lot, lifting heavy, having a calorie surplus, trying to put on muscle, trying to bulk up. Why? Because it was just fun to do. It was just something to do in this forever journey that I have on trying to see how much control I have over my body. And so it worked. I got big. I would say jacked is probably a major overstatement, but for me, it was biggest I've ever been, strongest I've ever been. But carrying around an extra 10 or 12 pounds of biceps and deltoids and traps and lats and all that stuff, not conducive for cardiovascular competition. So I have dialed back my calorie intake and been more mindful about just kind of being more mindful about the volume of food I'm putting in my face. So that is one of the biggest take homes, I think, with a bunch of my coaching clients, and maybe you can relate to this. It seems like everybody, and I wish probably not everybody, but certainly most women, in my experience, will report having been on a diet at some point in their life, or multiple diets, dozens of diets sometimes, phases where they'd be dieting. And tried this, it didn't work, tried that, it didn't work. And the one common thread that I think that I always want to come back to is whether it's high protein, low carb, keto, intermittent fasting, whatever it is, in order to lose weight, you have to have a calorie deficit. That means consuming fewer calories than your body needs. And when this happens, your body will say, hey, I need some energy, I need some fuel. You're not putting it through the meals that I'm having today, with this amazing brunch I'm going to have in a few minutes. So what does your body do? It will find stored calories. Again, fat is stored calories. Everybody wants to burn fat. So we want to stimulate that in some sort of way. In my case, I'm not carrying around a ton of fat. Certainly we all have maybe a pound or two at least that we could lose. That's straight up fat. But for me, it's really been cutting down the surplus of calories that I was eating. And instead, taking some of my own medicine, which I talk to my coaching clients about, eating until you are 80% full. So this meal that I have is more, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks amazing to me. It is going to be more than I'm going to eat in this sitting. But I just had it all made up, so I'm just going to eat one of these tortillas. But if you can eat until you're 80% full and then cut it, just take a pause, at least take a pause for a few moments, you will probably find that you are satisfied. We know the feeling of continuing to eat, shoveling food in your face, whether you're, just forcing it in, or you're not paying attention, you're watching TV, you're talking to friends, and then realize oh man, I'm super stuffed. When that happens, you have consumed more calories than your body needs, more calories than you're probably going to use. And those unused calories, your body's going to store as fat. Not great. The nervous system is a little bit slow to communicate from our gut to our brain to say, hey, that's enough, time out, we're full, I'm good to go. So when you can stop eating when you're about 80% full, it's a great way to let your nervous system give it time to kind of catch up and give your gut and brain time to communicate to say, that's enough, you're satisfied. So in taking my own medicine, I am going to not devour these tortillas with eggs and broccoli and carrots and cheese, which I could easily do here in just a few minutes time. I'm going to eat one of those and I'm going to take pause. I'm going to take a time out, step away. That should give me about 80% fullness, which is enough to keep me satisfied. I'm not going to accidentally consume more calories than I need. I'll have plenty of energy and I can always come back and grab another bite or two if I need it later on. So that's my focus on today. I am doing a little bit of strength training today. I'm not going to hit the bike. I've been on the bike past couple days. And yeah, so strength training day, probably a pretty light or short strength training day. Super focused on nutrition. So if I'm not going to go out burning a whole bunch, hundreds and hundreds of extra calories on the bike, it's all the more reason to kind of focus on the volume of food that I'm consuming, because I do love to eat. I think that's another misnomer where people think like, oh, if you're lean and skinny, you don't like to eat. I love to eat. I just want to be super mindful about how I do it. So eat good food. That's the name of the game. I mean, I don't want to say it's the reason to live, but certainly a good positive reason to be alive. Be mindful. Slow down. Eating pace is the name of the game for me today. And try to recover some more, because maybe tomorrow, or maybe ideally I would do this workout tomorrow. I have a high intensity, an interval session on the bike on my calendar for tomorrow. And I want to really get the most bang for the buck out of it. I really want to hit it hard, but I've been pretty tired. So hopefully I can get enough recovery up until tomorrow morning to get after it. If I can't, if I wake up and I'm still sore and achy, I'm going to push it back another day. So this is the other part of finessing what looks good on the calendar, but then also checking in and realizing like, maybe I can't do what I want to be able to do, because as a guy who's 52 years old, I don't recover like I used to. I can make up my calendar and be like, oh, this is going to be a perfect sequence of how I'm going to do things. And then my quads and my energy level says, nope, not doing it. So again, take my own medicine. So there you have it. If you have questions about your own training, fitness goals, if you have advice or guidance for me, I'm all ears. I'm a forever student. So by all means, if you know of some top secret thing that I don't know about, let me know, please. If you have specific topics you want me to cover, let me know that too. So we're all in this together. It's a game of life. So let's make the most of it. All right, I'm going to go eat. Peace out.